Hello, hello, Sensei Trend Traders. Welcome to the Trading Trail. This is a series where I go ahead and recap most of my trades, some of the best opportunities, and also highlighting some of the trades that I ended up missing today. So let's get right into today's performance. I missed 100. Am green, $164.86. Smaller green day, but green day nonetheless. So very thankful for that. Very thankful. So today I traded 6 different tickers, green on 3, red on 3 of them. I'd probably rate my performance probably a solid B minus. I definitely saw the larger setups, but here's the catch: I wasn't patient enough. Now I also missed a few chances to size in, and on one of the trades I ended up sizing in too early, and that's actually what ended up giving me a bigger loss. So the best opportunity that I actually found today was on, in my opinion, NAOV. I think NAOV had a stellar setup into market open. Now there were also a few tickers setting up into 6:30 in the morning into 7 in the morning. Now let's go ahead and get into that broader market analysis. So today, China is responding to Trump's tariffs, so the market is responding very cautiously. Now in our small cap world, we try and trade. We wake up every morning with erring on the side of caution. So normally we can still get some pretty good moves. Like today, we had some very fast moves. There were plenty of opportunities in the market. Certainly a little bit slower and more difficult to trade, but still, nonetheless, plenty of opportunities. So the first one that I actually had eyes on today was on NWTG. Now this one was a mover from yesterday. So right here, if we zoom in, this was kind of setting up into that 6:30 in the morning area, setting up on some lower volume. So I was a little cautious on it, but ended up actually breaking the downtrend, making a nice move into a 320 resistance. Now, also, let's highlight this really quick. NWTG had a really nice setup. This is a 5-minute chart into market open. So right here, let's go ahead and kind of highlight what we were looking at. So we have a nice downtrend forming right here, touching 3 times, which is great. And then we also have an obvious 315 resistance right here. So let's go ahead and highlight that with our marker here. We have an obvious 315 resistance. So this area, I was thinking if we get a nice break and hold of this area, we would actually start to see some larger momentum start stepping back in to that more favorable setup in NWTG. Now, if we didn't see some faster movement from new tickers setting up, I think volume would have started stepping back into that more familiar setup on a ticker that was setting up from yesterday, which was NWTG. This one still looked pretty good on some longer time frames. So I was kind of expecting some volume to kind of come back into this. Now you can also notice here we had a very long topping tail, but again, it was setting up on some lower volume, so much sketchier. I think if some other tickers weren't setting up into market open, I think bulls would have found a setup like this and gone to that previous mover. Now, we also had some better setups at market open, so let's get right into that. Now, first, my first trade on the day was actually on GLXG. This one, hindsight's 2020, but I do believe I had my downtrends placed in a wrong way. So first, let's look at this chart right here where I had my original downtrend. I had the downtrend drawn from this high connecting with this lower high. Now, if we go down to this next chart, we can see that this black line is respected a little bit more. Respected once here, twice, 3 times, 4 times, almost 5 times. Now, if we go back to the first chart, you'll kind of understand why I got faked out. So I had the downtrend placed possibly wrong or not the best fitting downtrend. And that actually caused me to get in right here on this break. I was thinking it was going to break that 189. And I really thought it was going to break that 189 right here, but I decided to hold off. And so I got in, and then right when I see it come down, fail VWAP, and then also start to move below the downtrend, that's my sign to go ahead and just cut it quick. Now, theoretically, sure, there's an argument to have held as long as this 175 held. This 175, of course, kind of grabbed from this recent low. So if you're looking for a trade from like a move like that right there, you would look for this recent low to hold. I didn't want to do that. And the reason I didn't want to do that is because I'm of the philosophy of you either nail it or you bail it. So you cut right there before it has a chance to make a move like that. So I decided to bail this one pretty quick because if you also like measure this out, that's about an 8% drop. holding through an 8% drop, like let's say you're even like waiting and hoping and holding for that 175 to keep holding. Um, if you're like, if price comes down and it's like testing this area and then it fails very quickly through that 175, that means you're getting out possibly below 175 if you're selling on the bid, trying to get out as fast as possible. So most likely, even though if you measure this out from a 189 to the 175, sure, that's 8% risk, but if you're going to be getting out below the 175, well, hello, that's almost minus 10%. And honestly, I can't stomach a loss like that. I want to keep things much tighter than that, so I got out right when I saw that we were finding resistance back up at the downtrend. Now we end up reclaiming that area, coming back up to 189, chopping around, and then right here, I get back in. Now, the reason that I got back in was because I saw that price was actually getting back above VWAP, and then, of course, we're also setting up into the 6:30 in the morning area. We get a nice official break of that 189, so I'm getting shares back in right about here, holding through this dip, load a little bit more, and then we get that nice parabolic action right afterwards. Now, I did miss a very, very nice opportunity to size in with a bigger position sizing. So, one other thing is I drew in this second downtrend here from this high, connecting it to this pullback. So right when I saw this red candle, I was thinking with a position size down here closer to the 189, that if I decided to attack this 211 area, this would have been a perfect opportunity for me to actually go in with some bigger size. Now, unfortunately, I got a little distracted in the moment and I ended up missing this. I didn't think it was going to break so quick. I thought it was going to need to move around, trade sideways a little bit, and then break that 211 with maybe 7 a.m. volume or closer into 7 in the morning. We're still like 20, 30 minutes away from 7 a.m. at this time. Yeah, we're like 30 minutes away from 7 a.m. So I thought it was really going to need to move sideways a little bit before 7 a.m. in the morning, 7 in the morning. Um, Unfortunately, that doesn't actually end up happening. Now, I think having this downtrend placed, this downtrend right here, I truly believe that you would have had a great opportunity to size in heavy at the 211 break. And what I mean by that is if I have an average down here at the 189, let's just say you have, let's just do 100 shares to make the math easy. Let's say you have 100 shares down here. If you add in heavy with another 100 shares at the 211 break, when it's breaking out of this pullback here, getting more shares on the 211 break. If you add another 100 shares, your original average was 189. What's your new average going to be? Well, you split the difference, 190 to 210. So basically, you're bringing up your average straight to a 2 area. So basically, you can double I would double my position size here, but as long as I'm nicely in the green, as long as I'm nicely in the green, I wouldn't be adding more risk because all I would be risking would be unrealized profits. So I'd be giving away a little bit of profit right here, like potentially if the move doesn't actually get that resolution above 211. But I would be doubling my position size because this is the move that I actually want to see. Unfortunately, I ended up missing adding the potential add at 211. And I mean, if I did this, it would have been a fantastic, fantastic day. But not, regardless, great action because we get the 211 break, smashes through that 229. We know 250 and then 275 is grabbed from a daily chart and makes a move right up there. And unfortunately, immediately starts selling off, and then we never trade this one again. But this is a very nice expansive move. Plenty of potential to lock in profits on something like this. So this one ended up paying me, I think, like $300 on a single trade, which is great risk to reward. Because down here, I mean, you're only risking what, 3% on an entry like that? Fantastic, fantastic. Now, the other one that I ended up trading was in AOV. So in AOV was setting up early in the morning after 7 in the morning. You love to see it. So price is setting up, moving sideways on VWAP, holding the 25 on the 1 minute. Price moves sideways, finally gets that push up to this 755 resistance. So let's go ahead and circle how we have that drawn. So then looking for a break through this area, and then ideally using that candle wick as a ladder up to that next known resistance. So price actually ends up breaking out of this 755. We get the nice break. I add in this new downtrend from this pullback right here. And then from this is my signal to get in. So right in here, I'm getting in on that green candle as it's breaking that downtrend. So I get in right around here. Pull up the laser pointer. I get in right around here, and then I'm immediately scaling out of my position. This one ended up moving very, very fast. Now, also on the daily chart, showed some fantastic room to run. So I knew that this one had some potential on it, so I ended up getting some nice shares down here around that 755 area, take some profit off the table up here, then close my position on the 10 on the 1 fail. Now, I was thinking after this test of the 10 EMA on the 5 that we would get a quicker resolution right after that. Unfortunately, we kind of end up chopping around and just continuing to trade sideways on the 10 on the 5. This is where I'm just I'm not patient enough. I am not patient enough by any means because on that daily chart, and I'll get into it in a second, showing a lot more room to run. A lot more room to run, especially with some obvious key levels like a 1063, 955, so on. I mean, you can just name them. You had key levels all the way up to I think $17. I mean, it was near perfect. Now, what I was thinking here is with all of these recent lows, as long as price is able to hold above these recent lows, we should get a really nice resolution into market open. Now, if you go ahead and measure all of this action up, this is about 1.5 hours, 1.5 hours of consolidation. Price just moved sideways this entire time. As you can see, price is moving sideways, mainly above the 10 EMA on the 5, and then also VWAP. VWAP is right around here. Price is just bouncing, moving sideways right on top of that. This is some beautiful, beautiful consolidation. And then if you kind of chart this out, it's just perfectly bull flagging. So this is the bull flag, and then you look for the break right above. So we have this beautiful downtrend placed. Let's go and circle those key areas. Downtrend is placed because of all of these key areas. And then going into market open, I was thinking, you know what? Pre-market VWAP is around that 780 area. So as long as we hold that 786 into market open, I mean, good golly, we should rip. So I was looking at this one. I was kind of calling it out to a few people I was in a call with. And yeah, fantastic move right into market open. Now let's get into that daily chart and kind of see the setup on those longer time frames. So right here, price is consolidating. Let's remember this. Price is consolidating between a 955, 936, and a 7 level. Mainly, that's 786. That's also key level. So let's get right into this. So this is the daily chart here. And we're going to have to zoom in. Bear with me here. It's a little bit smaller text. But right here, 786, look at this right here. This red candle on the daily chart goes all the way up and touches 786. So I'm looking at that into market open. And I'm like, you know what? If we hold above this key level of 786, I mean, a break above this area could show room to the next area. Well, on the daily chart, we look to the left and up. Okay, where's that next key area? Well, you do have this huge green candle, so we know it has room to run, and it's got the potential. It's done it before. But then we look to the left and up. Sure, you kind of have some choppy action in here. You kind of have this resistance right here, but more importantly, you have this area. This is a massive key level. So what would that be? That's 892. And then we also have look to the left and up. So we look to the left and up, and then you also have that 1063. So if we kind of zoom out and get that larger picture, a break of this area can show room here. Break of this area can show room here. A break of this area can show room all the way up to that 13 resistance. Now we also have that key level. We have a key level there, which is what it actually made a room all the way up to. Then we also have these key levels back up in here. So we know it kind of has room to that 15 key level. Then you also have the resistance right here lining up with our 1063, kind of giving us the conviction that it's even more important. So that 1063, I didn't just pull that number out of, thin air. It's a key level that we find on the daily chart, which also means that when we go on here, on that move into market open, because of course we know that, let's get rid of this circle here. Of course we know that the channel is getting tighter here. Price is consolidating, moving sideways. Price is just moving, trading within this channel. We finally break out and we get that explosive move after an hour and a half of consolidation. That's the most important part. So we get that explosive move after an hour and a half of consolidation, and then we get that explosive move right above our key 1063. So please notice here, 1063, every single candle closes above that 1063 area. Very key level to kind of focus on. So if I were to have traded this, now of course I didn't, hindsight 2020, but I mean it's a beautiful setup regardless. So I ended up missing this one because I was already walking away from the monitor into market open because I got my green on the day, so I was ready to call it. I wasn't comfortable holding a position like this for an hour and a half. I mean, all of these entries, technically you can hold them for an hour and a half. Like I had plenty of risk to reward there. Just hold as long as the 10 on the 5 holds. It's above VWAP, so just cut if VWAP fails. All of those kind of confluences I could have held any of these positions here into market open. I ended up not. I ended up deciding to go ahead and cut it and walk away from the monitor for a little bit smaller of loss, still finishing the day green though. Now, we get that nice move above, we get the break here, hold above the 1063, and then we rocket ship to the next level. So if we go back again to the daily chart here, what's happening? 1063 is right here. We get the break, hold above, rocket ship up to the next key level. We know that we're going to have resistance right there at that 14. Do I have a screenshot of that? Yep, here we go. So right here, we know that we're going to find some resistance right here. So we get the break of the 13, shows room to 14. Break of 14 shows room to 15. Break of 15 shows room to 16. And then we make that move all the way up, just whole dollar levels when it's moving that fast. So again, you could have loaded some shares down here and then held through this dip on some of your shares and then taken some off just right up here because you know that we're going to find that resistance up here at the 15. Showed perfect room to run. I think the daily chart on this one is a great one to study. I think it was probably one of the best opportunities, especially after an hour and a half of consolidation. Most other stocks don't consolidate for that long, just moving sideways. So let's get into the next opportunity, which was on SXTP. This one was giving some really nice moves. Definitely a wickier, more difficult chart to trade, in my opinion. I'm probably glad I avoided most of this one, but let's get right into it. So let's go. I'm going to go and point out some of the things that I don't like. I don't like this move. I don't like this move. And I certainly don't like how hard that sold off. Now, it did hold key areas. I also don't like that move right there. Now, the reason I don't like those moves is because price comes up, slams back down, jackknifes on us. Price comes back up, jackknifes on us. Price comes back up, jackknifes. Jackknife. I mean, it's finding resistance so quick. I'm scared that I wouldn't be able to walk away with profit if I got caught in any of those rejections. Now, fortunately, this added volatility is actually kind of in our favor as a day trader because you want that volatility to be on your side. You want it to help push price upwards, and it does. It has some really nice consolidation. The 5-minute chart was looking even better. This was the downtrend that you want to pay attention to. So we have it connected 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, God, 4 times, 4 or 5 times. So we get then into market open. We get the break, hold above, and then price starts to make its move. So again, this is the break, this is the hold, and then price starts to rip right after that. I think this one was a lot more difficult to trade because, especially factoring in any of these kind of jackknifes, I just probably didn't have enough confidence to actually trade that one into market open. Still gave an amazing move into market open. SXTP also held its gains better than most of the stocks throughout the day. So SXTP, this is the 5-minute chart on it right here. And then one other thing to kind of point out is like this 1-minute chart, you kind of see this candle right here. This candle comes up, jackknifes back down. A lot of volatility. If I would have gotten caught in that, I would have been, closing my monitor really quick after that. But that added volatility will sometimes work in our favor. Some very wicky candles, a lot of price movement, just kind of difficult to trade in my opinion. Now, this movement on a 5-minute chart just shows up as a wick, which gave me added conviction that this was the downtrend that we should have been drawing. So this downtrend right here is kind of what makes it easier to have possibly caught any of this movement right here. So of course you see the break, hold, rocket ship up. And then you are also looking for that break through, I guess a 275. You'd be looking for the break through this candle. So that's how we have this resistance drawn. A break of that pre-market kind of high, and then especially the break of this pre-market high as well. I mean, that's what really sent this one into those next key levels. The break of 3 can show room to 4, 350. Break of 350 probably shows room to 4, and so on. Just kind of key psychological levels. I've got 1063 charted from this move right here. Sorry, 363. So definitely plenty of opportunities. Now, one other thing I want to highlight here is go ahead and ask yourself, let's look at this chart here. We have a 10, 25, 50, 90, and a 200 EMA all charted on this chart. We're on a 5-minute chart. Which one of these EMAs is holding up, is holding trend? What I would say is it's this 90, oh my goodness. What I would say is it's this 90 EMA. This 90 EMA, this kind of teal 90 EMA, you can see all the colors on the top left. The 90 EMA is holding trend very, very well. So kind of looking at this after the fact, seeing this hold trend very, very well, you could have possibly added in a downtrend, something like this, and then possibly have grabbed some shares right around here with the intention of getting the move back up to VWAP. If you get a break and hold a VWAP, that's what can start setting up for some nice after hours movement. Unfortunately, we don't end up holding VWAP, so that's what kind of kills this move right here. When we fail back below VWAP, it's kind of almost a very likely chance that we're going to get the move below the 90 EMA, which has been holding trend all day. So you would look for the 90 EMA on the 5 to end up holding into after hours. So this trend right here, there's a chance you might have been able to catch some shares from a key. You might have added a key level from right here. So whatever that would be, 322. Maybe you play a 322 break and into that power hour session, which is from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Any stocks that have a chance of squeezing into market close, they normally have is start setting up between 2 and 3, and then they try and make their move between 3 and 4. So if we notice here, it's setting up within this area, and then it tries to make its move within this area. Now, if we got a nice break and hold of VWAP, that's what I call a VWAP reversal, and then price could have possibly started to reverse back up and trying to reclaim some of these areas. So this one, you could have actually, there's an argument to have kept an eye on it all day. I don't think any of the other stocks were worth it to kind of keep an eye on throughout the day. SXTP you could have tried to trade that 322 break up to that 360 area. Again, not the best risk to reward, but again, if you imagine a move like that, that would have been fantastic, much better. And the 90 EMA on the 5 was holding trend the entire day, so plenty of confluences to have taken a trade like that. But that's been my recap today, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. I'm thinking on possibly putting together a trivia session for the team. So if anyone has any trivia questions they would like to send my way, or if they're interested in helping out, possibly doing a trivia night, just planting the seed early. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. Please like, subscribe, drop a comment, whatever you guys need. This has been the Trading Trail. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Safe trading, everyone.